meeting of the Town of Wendell Board of Commissioners. Welcome. We have a lot of folks with us tonight. Pardon me. We're happy to have all of you here. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight by Eastwake High School student Joram Malimi Joram. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Close enough? Right. Okay. Joram is a senior at Eastwake High School and is a remarkable student, originally from Tanzania, East Africa. He arrived in the United States at the age of 14 and is the oldest of 4 siblings. Before moving to Wendell, Joram lived in the Pittsburgh Tech Hub, where he developed a passion for technology and entrepreneurship. At Eastwake High School, he has made a significant impact through his active involvement in various school activities, including being a dedicated member of the National Honor Society. Joram has also showcased his talents by participating in state and national STEM and math competitions. Outside of academics, he enjoys playing soccer and capturing moments through photography. Joram aspires to continue his educational journey by studying computer science and business in college with the goal of merging his technical skills with his entrepreneurial spirit. His drive, determination, and commitment to excellence make him a valuable member of the Eastwake community and a promising young leader. Well, we are so very proud of you. You're a senior, right?
Senior, yes.
So what are your plans for next year?
Right now, I'm in the process of applying to colleges, so
Okay.
that's what I'm planning to do.
Well, very best of luck to you with that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and he's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. It was a pleasure having you here tonight. Our invocation from the Wendell Council of Churches, we are going to hear from Karen Marsh of Covenant Presbyterian Church. Is she here? All right, Errol. Thank you so much for always being here.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Let me talk. Okay,
Which-
great kid. Recently, Bellflower, that's another whole group. Wendell, trunk or treat, kind of people showed up. We gave vote here in Bless.
Agenda, motion to agenda. All right, we approve the agenda. All
Aye.
opposed? No. All right, public comment period. The public can participate in public comment by attending the meeting and signing up at the door as you come in and speak in person or by sending to the town clerk by the Friday at 5 p.m., the Friday before our meeting on the next Monday. And the written comments that are received timely will be read into the record for a length of 3 minutes. And we have no one signed up tonight. But that's a reminder. We like to hear from everyone. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right. We'll move into section 4, our recognitions, reports, and presentations. And item 4A is the recognition of Eastwake High School staff member Dr. Kiana Price. Dr. Kiana Price is a proud native of Zebulon and a dedicated product of Eastern Wake County, and she has long been a pillar of the East Wake Magnet High School community. A graduate of East Wake Magnet High School in 2002, she has the distinction of being inducted into both the school's Sports Hall of Fame and the Barton College Sports Hall of Fame, where she now serves as a valued committee member. As an alumni of East Wake Magnet High School, Dr. Price has remained deeply committed to supporting her community through a variety of She has served as a math teacher, credit recovery coordinator, math coach, family coordinator, volleyball coach. Is promoting and showcasing strengths during Magnet events. In addition to her work with students, Dr. Price plays a crucial role in coordinating professional development for staff and keeping families informed about new opportunities at school. A true warrior at heart, her unwavering dedication to the Eastwake High School community and its students is reflected in all that she does. Dr. Price's contributions continue to inspire those around her, making her a lasting impact on the school and the greater community. Gosh, that's so very nice. And that was sent to us by the principal, Stacy Alston. So we wanted to invite you here and just thank you for everything you do for our children in Eastern Wake County and in Wendell particularly, and tell you how much we appreciate you
Thank
and
you
all
so
that you
much.
do. Do you have anything you want to say?
Just thank you for the support so far. Y'all are just a phone call away. Last week I called Commissioner Joyner and I told him we needed them to come out to our Magnet Open House, which is next week on on the 4th, November 4th at 4:30. And he was like, we'll have someone there, so thank you for that. One thing we're doing at Eastway, we are the newest iTech and Design, the only iTech and Design high school in the state.
Yeah.
So what we need support with is getting the positive message out about the things we are doing at Eastway, because we are doing some great and amazing things. We have about 1,800 students, and we are 50 students away from capacity.
Wow.
So teachers, we are doing our best and working tirelessly, not just me, but them also. But we appreciate your support. And I just want to thank my family and my friends back there in the back, my children, most importantly, my husband and my parents, because without their support, I would not be able to pull off these late nights like tonight. I was so excited. I was actually here last Tuesday, and they all came last Tuesday. That was the wrong night. But just thank you for everything, and we look forward to our partnership with you guys and your continuous support. Thank you.
We're so pleased and proud to have you tonight. Thank you
Thank you.
again for everything you do. All right, item 4B is the GFOA Certificate of Achievement in Financial Reporting for fiscal year 2023. Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, Madam Mayor,
Evening.
Commissioners. Excited to be here tonight to present or notify that the town has been presented the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Report Time. We used to be able to say however many consecutive in total. Unfortunately, we were unable to submit for FY22 previously. But it's always been a long-standing big project that we've submitted and been proud to receive this many times. For those in the audience and those at home that aren't familiar, the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting is an award that's given out by the Governmental Finance Officers Association, or GFOA, and it's for submitting a town's annual comprehensive financial report. So each year, the town has to put together some basic financial statements that are audited by our external auditor. But the comprehensive report goes much further, is much more in depth, and shows a lot more statistical information and some compliance information that isn't necessarily required by what's mandated by the state. The town has 6 months from the end of a fiscal year to submit this. The report is reviewed by a panel of governmental finance professionals, some in public sector and some that are former auditors and what have you. I will say that we are in small and good company. We were one of 80-ish, 81 municipalities and 175 entities total overall from North Carolina to receive the Certificate of Achievement for this particular fiscal year 2023 report. So it's a very special thing to be able to have received this. Obviously not many do, so we're just really proud of that. So thank you.
Thank you. We're very proud of that as well.
Thank you.
All right, item 4C is the GFOA Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for fiscal year 2025.
Thank you, Mayor. So the town also received the GFOA Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for the fiscal year 2025 budget document, which is what we're currently operating under. I can say that this is the 6th consecutive and overall award for this one. While municipalities are required by North Carolina statute to have a balanced budget, meaning revenues must equal expenditures, an award-winning budget goes much further beyond that, beyond the numbers really. it provides a lot more narrative, a lot more explanation as to the how and the why of what the budget is made up of. Each year, over 1,700 entities, and that's both United States and Canada, receive this recognition. The town was one of 65 jurisdictions for the 24 cycle. 25, fiscal year 25 numbers aren't yet available, but again, you can see we're in small companies. So for the town of Wendell to participate in this program shows a commitment to, putting together a very thorough and very transparent budget document that hopefully the community can see that we're putting a lot of thought into how we're getting to these expenditures and spending their tax dollars as prudent as possible. Again, the budget is reviewed by public sector professionals. And again, it's a big effort town-wide, also with y'all's support to get where we are. So we thank you for that.
Anything from the board, comments? All right, thank you very much for everything you do, all the people in the finance department. Please give
Yes,
them
ma'am.
our thanks.
Thank you.
All right, moving into section 5, public hearings. Item 5A is a public hearing to annex and rezone approximately 60.95 acres from Wake County Residential 30 to Town of Wendell Residential 7 Conditional District to create a residential subdivision. Mr. Coates.
Yep. Good evening, Mayor and board members. The public hearing tonight before you is Conditional District 2307. It is to request and rezone the roughly 60 acres from Wake County Residential 30 to Town of Wendell Conditional District R7. Let me go through here real quick. Property is located at 1013 Lake Glad Road. The project setting, and we'll have a next slide, has a map. The zoning in this corridor has varied. There's R4 conditional districts to the north and R7 to the south, R4 across Eagle Rock Road, and then some Wake County zoning as well. There is vacant land directly to the north of this project, which is known as the Edwards Tract. That project is currently in construction drawing review and should have approval very soon. The developer of the tract to the north, Edwards, and the Jones Tract, which is before you tonight, are the same as True Homes. And just over 400 feet south on Lake Glad is the Eagle Trace subdivision that is currently under construction by a different builder. That project is also zoned R7 conditional district. In total, there are 3 residential projects in that corridor along Lake Glad Road. It is key to note Wake County in their land use plan does classify this as community. It's in areas for municipal growth, and they have it classified as residential growth as well. Zoning map, you can see the Jones Tract there in red highlighted, the Edwards Tract to the north, and then the other subdivisions to the south. Zoning district R7, you can see on the left-hand side the minimum lot requirements, the lot size requirements. You can see the dimensions on the right-hand side proposed by the applicant. They are proposing to meet all setbacks. It's key to note all setbacks where garages are present must be a 20-foot setback. So if in this case they're all front-loaded homes with garages, and so the setback has to be a minimum 20 feet for that garage. Overall site plan for the project, Lake Glad kind of bisects the property. There is a collector road running kind of north-south, which is in the transportation plan. We'll go over that a little bit later. You can see in pink and blue, those are the open space amenity areas, and we'll go a little more detail for those as well. And then there are some different buffers proposed throughout the project as well. It's 235 unit single-family residential subdivision. Zoning conditions for the project. We'll go over each of these. Limited use for the project is single-family, including any allowed accessory uses. The density is limited to 3.94 dwelling units an acre, and we'll go over a little more detail on that during the comp plan discussion. Minimum lot size is to be no less than 3,520 square feet with a minimum width of 32. The rear and side building elevations of each home within the community shall have a minimum of one window door on each floor. Each window, entry door, and garage shall have trim molding measuring 4 inches and/or decorative shutters surrounding each window for the street-facing facade. Condition 6, garage doors must include windows and decorative hardware. All homes will have front-loaded garages. Condition 7 is the siding materials. A minimum 2 of the following materials will be utilized on the exterior of the single-family dwelling homes. They are as follows: wood, fiber cement, masonry brick, brick veneer, masonry stone veneer, or composite synthetics. Vinyl siding is not permitted except for trim of the dwelling facade. Condition 8, the exterior siding designs will contain a minimum of 2 various design patterns such as horizontal or vertical elements, shake or board and batten designs. Condition 9, windows and casings, various decorative elements and trim moldings may be vinyl. Condition 10, no single-family home shall have the front exterior elevation that is identical to 2 homes within 2 lots along the same side of the street or homes directly across the street. Conditions for the home shall be a raised monolithic slab with 12 inches of exposed concrete above finished grade. The exposed foundation shall be adorned with brick or stone on the front elevation. The side and rear may be stucco or parged. Condition 12, a community homeowners association, otherwise known as a HOA, is to be established and will be responsible for the continued maintenance of all recognized open space areas not dedicated to the town of Wendell. Condition 13, amenity facilities shall be constructed of materials that blend well with the architectural and aesthetic styling of the community and be of similar materials. 14, a 20-foot wide buffer shall be provided along the exterior property boundary, existing vegetation to be used to the greatest extent possible, supplemented as needed to meet a type B buffer requirement, shrub layer to be planted. Condition 15, active open space area is proposed to meet the town of Wendell requirements, will include playground, paved walking trails, benches, picnic shelter, dog park, and pickleball courts. Condition 16, open space area, which is roughly about 3.84 acres at the intersection of Lake Glad and Road G within Phase 2 of the project, is to be constructed by the developer and dedicated to the town of Wendell for use as a public park. Condition 17, landscape berm is to be placed along the boundary line shared with the pin there, 1783-02-3791, beginning approximately 125 feet north from the shared boundary line between the 2 pins mentioned, extending north to the corner and turning east for another approximately 400 feet. And I'll show you on a map of where that's located. All remaining shared boundary lines with those 2 pins mentioned to be buffered using existing vegetation to greatest extent possible, to be supplemented as needed to meet a type B buffer requirement, shrub layer to be planted. In condition 18, a 25-foot type A buffer is to be placed along the shared boundary line with the pin in reference, beginning the Lake Glad Road right-of-way extending 310 feet westward to the existing property line, existing vegetation to be used to greatest extent possible and also to be supplemented to meet the type A buffer requirements, shrub layer to be planted. All remaining shared boundary lines with that pin to be buffered using existing vegetation and will meet a type B buffer requirement. Let me just go back. You can see on this site plan, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the berm in the area hatched in red. And so those are signifying the different buffer requirements. The property owner to the north did attend the planning board meeting and did request some additional landscaping in a berm to create a barrier and just to not have a visual impact to it's an active farm north of the site. And they had concerns about potential residents going onto the property. So the applicant did add that berm and extra landscaping after the planning board meeting. Environmental, the applicant will need to obtain stormwater and sedimentation erosion control permits from Wake County Environmental Services. We contract with them for that service. The proposed plan does show 5 stormwater control measures throughout the project. Buffers, we did go over quite a few of the zoning conditions. There is no buffer required between the Jones Tract and the Edwards Tract. However, they are proposing a type B buffer along that as it surrounds the entire development. The proposed development plan does include street tree plantings along both sides of Lake Glad Road and all internal public streets as well. Open space, going to take a few minutes. This is a little more involved than some of our other rezonings, so I just want to make sure I go over all of these topics for you. UDO does require a 1,750 square feet of open space per single-family home. 75% of that needs to be passive, 25% is improved park space, and a third of the 25% needs to be considered active. The applicant is proposing roughly 13.2 acres of open space, which is more than the required. The plan also includes the required amount of improved and active, including dog park, picnic shelter, paved walking trail on the eastern side of Lake Glad Road. On the western side of Lake Glad, the developer is dedicating roughly 3.84 acre park to the town of Wendell. This area includes a paved walking trail, playground, benches, and 4 pickleball courts. It's all in phase 2 of the project, and once constructed, will be dedicated as a public park and maintained by the town of Wendell. That park will be able to be used by all of our residents. It will not be maintained by HOA, but the town, so it'll be open for all residents to use and program that space. Just to add, the town staff is in discussion with the developer, which is True Homes of the Edwards project. They have open space just to the north of this 3.84 acres that contains more of that pond, but also a athletic field that could be used for soccer or other field sports. And the goal from a town perspective is if we could have both the Jones Tract amenities on that side and Edwards to create a neighborhood park that could be used for all of our residents. Streams and wetlands, the site does have a new riparian buffer along the northern border with the Edwards site and wetlands on the eastern side of the property. There's no development plan within that buffer or within those wetlands. So site plan again. So that pink area to the north that you see is the public park area. So it has a parking lot, pickleball courts, playgrounds, walking trails, and part of that pond. You can see part of the pond does go to the north, which is part of the Edwards open space. The dog park, mailbox kiosk area is on the eastern side of Lake Glad. That would be maintained by their HOA and not part of a town park or town maintenance. Transportation, the UDO does require a traffic impact analysis for a development plan that exceeds 100 peak hour trips. We also have it in there that if it's more between 75 and 100, I can require a TIA, which I would. So in this case, their project does have more than 100 peak hour trips, so a TIA was required and was prepared and also went through review by the town and NCDOT. TIA improvements do include a northbound and southbound 100-foot left turn lanes into the development. Also includes a dedicated right turn lane of 175 feet from Lake Glad onto northbound Eagle Rock Road. And also a left turn lane with 200 feet of storage from westbound Wendell Falls Parkway, coming from, let's say, the Jake May area onto southbound Eagle Rock. And we have a map on the next slide showing you those TIA improvements. In our arterial and collector street plan, Lake Glad Road is a future 3-lane undivided roadway. The three-lane undivided roadway contains a 79-foot right-of-way, 3 12-foot travel lanes, 5-foot bike lanes, 6-foot sidewalks, and street trees. The applicant's frontage on the Jones Tract is roughly 900 feet where they own land on both sides. Edwards Tract is a little longer than that. So between the two projects, we'd get roughly 2,000 linear feet of roadway, full improvements on both sides. Their plan also includes a collector road that runs north-south. In our transportation plan, that collector road would run from the Jake May Road area down to Stotts Mill in Johnston County. The applicant's plan does show that roadway being constructed in accordance with our transportation plan. TIA, you can see the 175-foot left turn lane there on the image on the left from Lake Glad onto Eagle Rock, and then the 200-foot turn lanes into their site. And then the 200-foot left turn lane at Wendell Falls Parkway onto southbound Eagle Rock. And they do have their traffic engineer here who can field questions on the TIA if you have any. The local streets are all 52-foot right-of-way throughout the development. There are 6 stubs to adjacent properties. All lots have the required 2 parking spaces, and there's parking at the amenities, whether it's the mail kiosk or at the future town park. Phasing, there's 2 phases for this project. Phase 1 amenities include walking trails, dog park, and picnic shelter on the east side of Lake Glad. Phase 2 includes walking trails, playground, pickleball courts, and a parking lot on the western side, which will be dedicated to the town. The applicant is proposing to construct a neighborhood park to be dedicated to the town. The park does include those items mentioned in the pickleball courts and a portion of the pond with sidewalk connections to the neighborhood. The town's adopted plan recommends that neighborhood parks contain a mix of active and passive uses and should serve the residents within 3/4 to a mile radius. In this case, there are 3 approved neighborhoods within a mile of that proposed neighborhood park. And so there are roughly future 1,500, 2,000 residents that could use that park for their closest recreation. Also, just to note, there's land to the north, further along Lake Glad, near Boxley and Folk Street that was dedicated to the town to create a neighborhood park there that kind of serves those more in-town folks in Boxley Street and South Main Street areas. In that case, the land was dedicated, but we still have to construct the park. It is right at the end of what will be the South Main Street Greenway that's under design. So just comment, the construction and dedication of a neighborhood park does assist the town with implementing the Parks and Rec Master Plan. Comp plan, this area is classified as medium residential 1, which allows for a density of neighborhoods between 2 and 4 units per acre. They should have improved open space in the form of pocket and neighborhood parks, greenway trails, and be well connected to other neighborhoods and amenities. The proposed project does meet the characteristics in medium residential 1. It is a moderate density. The density proposed is 3.94 units per acre, which is in the between the 2 to 4 units allowed in that medium residential. They are dedicating and constructing that neighborhood park. With any rezoning, we make a recommendation on how it's consistent in reasonableness. And how it is and is not consistent with the comp plan. In the case of this project, the density falls within the allowable, and also it does provide housing with a variety of lot sizes. In this case, it also helps implement the 2019 Parks and Rec Master Plan by creating more green space and connections and implementing park amenities, land acquisition to ensure equitable access across the town and its various demographics. The applicant did hold a neighborhood meeting February 15th, 2024. 6 neighbors attended. The meeting report is attached in your packet. TRC has done all their reviews on the submittals, and all comments have been addressed. Staff does feel the project is consistent with the comp plan and also consistent with the comprehensive plan and the Parks and Rec Master Plan from 2019. Therefore, staff does recommend approval. We can field any questions that you have as well.
Okay, let's open the public hearing. Any questions from the board?
I have real quick clarification.
Yeah.
On the map, you showed I believe it was the red, the number 17 that was added, landscape berm. And then, so you did outline that, but then 18 was a 25-foot type A? If you
Yes.
just point that out on the map for me.
Sorry, I was going the wrong way, like I've never used this before. So the red hatched area is that 25-foot type A, and then they did enhance the other buffers bordering that property that do not have a berm, and also the property to the south, the Edie Nowell property.
Okay, top left berm.
The red area that's, yep, is the berm.
Okay. And then the other red is number 18, is that what you're saying?
No, the other red is calculated for our number of stub requirements.
Okay.
They-
Where is 18 then, I guess is what I'm asking?
Yep, so 18 is that red in the corner that has the thicker dashed line for the berm. 17 is other portions of the property along that, I would call it the western border.
All right, and then you answered Phase 1 is the HOA amenities, south side, and then north side is Phase 2, that's the town park.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Is there a question down here?
Yeah, Brian, can you, the Edwards property is just directly north of this, correct?
Correct.
Just help me as far as my spatial stuff is not great. As far as these roads here on the north of this project, kind of how they run into that project, and then how the ones from the Edwards, I guess, because there were a lot of southern stubs on that project, it seemed like. Do they all connect over to here?
So the only road that will connect is the far one on the eastern side of the Jones Tract.
Right.
The other stubs that you see in Edwards are farther to the east.
Okay. So the ones on the Edwards Act I'm looking at, the one that's the furthest to the, I guess, the left, that's the only one that connects down. The other ones that are further out to the right,
Correct.
those are the ones that are past this territory?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything else from the board? We'll have another chance. Okay, thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation?
They do not have a presentation, but they have their team here to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, they don't, okay.
Evening, Madam Mayor,
Good evening.
members of the board. I'm Clay Matthews with Seat Group. We're here representing True Homes. I don't really want to reiterate everything Brian did. He did a pretty comprehensive overlook of what the project is. But it, almost 61 acres, 235 units at about 3.94 dwelling units to the acre. It does comply with the comprehensive plan and the current UDO, and we've worked very diligently with the town staff to make sure that we actually did comply with all the UDO requirements. If we didn't, or felt like it was a better idea to do something a little different, that's where our conditions come into play. So those are the conditions that we're asking for that may deviate from the current UDO. There are a couple changes as a result of the UDO, or as a result of the planning board meeting that we had last month. The first and most obvious being has already been a question about is the buffer that's on the northwest corner. Does this thing have like a pointer on it?
No, we need that.
That's unfortunate. So and your plan is the top left is in red. That is a buffer against the Todd property. That would be condition 17. Condition 18 actually addresses the property to the south on that western property line, which is with Edie now. There's a specific section of her property that is just open field right into her house. And she brought this up during the community meeting that we held. And it seems like she's already erected a wrought iron fence that doesn't do anything for visual barrier, but her concern was she has a pool or was installing a pool at the time or something similar to that. And so in order to address that from our end, we were gonna intensify the buffer plantings there so that she doesn't have as much of a visual problem as she would have otherwise because of how wide open it was before, and then she has already erected a fence, it seems like, to handle the actual physical access of people being able to potentially cross her property line. So that's the two extra conditions that we applied as a result of the planning board meeting last month. We have members from True Homes. We also have the traffic engineer to be able to handle any other questions that you guys might have. We're here to help.
Okay. Questions from the board?
Got one quick question.
Okay.
Just how far are you from the working farm at the farthest point and at the closest point?
Currently, that piece, so if you went Road F north, that's like open field and is currently tended by that farmer, the Todds, as a lease from Mr. Lucius Jones. And so as a result of development of this property, That came up in conversations with the Todds. True Homes worked diligently with them to cover what that buffer might look like. We went through a couple of different iterations with them and with the town, trying to work to see if we could satisfy all parties the best we could. And ultimately, that's how we ended up with the buffer that we have shown now. Unfortunately or fortunately, the property, as the line goes now north and then east, juts right into the middle of an ag field, but it's because that's just how the land has been tended for several years. So there will be ag farm, feasibly could be ag farm right on the other side of that buffer, which is another reason why we ended up on a buffer, or a berm, excuse me.
Thank you.
Anything else?
And just to confirm, Ms. Now's concern at the neighborhood meeting, you've covered that with her part that she's done, and then your part is 18. So,
That's correct.
okay, thank you.
She was satisfied with that?
She did not come to the planning board meeting, but we took it as an opportunity since the Todds had brought it up. We went ahead and addressed it as well.
Okay. Any questions down here? All right. Do you have questions for any of the rest of their team? Anyone? Okay.
Thank you.
Be on standby. They might come
Yes,
up.
ma'am.
Okay, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak for or against this project? All right. Come back to the board. Anything else from the board?
Just quickly, Mayor, two sort of more philosophical questions or points than anything. Thanks for all the presentations and putting the project together to bring to us. But for town staff and for other property owners, future developers, opportunities to have parks that are built as part of developments. We require open space in parks. Opportunities to partner with us and make those truly public parks and not something that's managed by HOA or something that ends up creating a turf war about who's allowed in and who needs to be kept out is something that I'm always going to be for. So thank you for giving us opportunity to have a new town park as part of this. And then also thanks for the berm that we've talked about extensively already. It's not a secret that I don't have some philosophical objection to new houses being built in town, but I'm always going to do everything I can to stand up for folks still being able to continue to do what what they've been doing before those houses were built. So if anything ever comes up in the future for the folks that are around it, just know, don't have any issue with what's being proposed here, but I'll always be on their side for standing up for what they are doing today if they want to keep doing, whether that's a farm or hunting off to the other side or anything else that folks are doing around. So I think we can have both. And good fences make good neighbors. Sounds like that's kind of where we're heading on this one.
Yeah. I appreciate you bringing up the part about the park and the requirement that we have about parks and open space, because things don't have a better chance because they're dangling a park to the town. That's not true. So. All right, anything else from the board? All right, we'll close the public hearing. What's y'all's pleasure?
I was waiting for the public comments. I appreciate it seems like things got addressed through the process, and certainly know, and we openly hear all the time that we have a good staff. It's good to hear that, but it's also good to get to this point of a process and there not be unresolved. I've certainly sat in this room, there's been unresolved things when we get to this point, and it certainly doesn't seem like that's the case. With that, Madam Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve motion to approve the annexation and adopt the attached ordinance for, how do you want me to identify?
Yeah, the rezoning, it's not listed correctly on our thing. Say to approve the annexation and rezoning and adopt the attached ordinance. Maybe that covers everything. Is that everything?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just a point, the draft ordinance has 16 conditions, and I believe there were 18, is that right? So So we want to approve the ordinance with all of the conditions,
16 of the
all 18
18.
of the conditions.
Yes, ma'am.
So add that on to that as well, please.
I'd move to approve the proposed annexation and adopt the attached ordinance with the included conditions
And the rezoning.
and the rezoning for the property located at 1013 Lake Lad Road. I finally found it down here.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we have a motion to approve the annexation and rezoning of, I don't have the address right here in front of me. 1013, God, we're a mess tonight. Lake Glad Road, and to, including the 18 conditions. Okay, is that pretty accurate? All right, is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Item 6, we're moving to our administrative items. Item 6A is a request for temporary closure of the requested downtown streets for the Wendell Wonderland event on Friday, December 6th, 2024. Mr. Pulaski.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. I'm here seeking approval to temporarily close roads downtown for the Wendell Wonderland event on December the 6th. So the town will host the 2024 Wendell Wonderland event on Friday, December the 6th from 5 to 9 p.m. The special event necessitates the closure of Main, Cypress, and 3rd Streets at approximately 2 p.m. To start the stage setup and getting the vendors in place. All streets would reopen by 11 p.m. at the latest, although most of the streets reopen long before that. The event includes live performances throughout downtown, Santa and Mrs. Claus at the Town Square, the Lake Myra Light Show at the Women's Club lot, axe throwing, trolley rides around downtown, open businesses, food trucks, a craft market, and we'll also be running our Toys for Tots drive again this year. The safety for those attending the event necessitates the temporary closure of public streets to minimize conflicts between vehicles and pedestrians. Staff is requesting Cypress Street between 3rd and 2nd to be closed, 3rd Street between Cypress and Pine, Main Street between 4th and 2nd Street, and also the Women's Club parking lot. Accessible parking has been added as of last year, and we'll be bringing that back. 3 years ago, we had only golf cart parking near Main Street. Last year, we did add handicap accessible spots in there as well, so those will be back. Campus Street, and additionally, Tobacco Alley, Campen, and Depot will be closed for the event under staff authority. Business owners will be notified in advance of all the closures that would be downtown. And also attached was an event map for everyone.
The handicap spaces will be on Depot, is that what you
Yes,
said?
they're on Depot, and they're at the corner of Depot and Main.
Okay, so we get a lot of questions about that, and I want to make sure.
It's on the map as well.
Okay, thank you.
They are
Thank you
labeled.
for that.
Yes.
Appreciate that. All right, anything from the board?
Madam Mayor, I move we approve the temporary closure for the requested downtown streets for the Wendell Wonderland special event on Friday, December 6th.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the temporary closure for the requested downtown streets for the Wendell Wonderland event on Friday, December 6th. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right, item 6B is the joint use agreement between Pleasant Grove and the town of Wendell for open space usage.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm here seeking authorization to give the town manager to sign the joint use agreement for the Pleasant Grove open space. In May 2024, the Parks and Recreation Department began constructing a baseball softball field at Pleasant Grove Baptist Church property located at 948 Morphus Bridge Road. With this project being completed in July, it provided a field for the church and the community, and also we did the dimensions so that the possibility would be there for the Wendell Middle School baseball team would have somewhere to practice, because that has been an issue in the past. Originally, we were discussing doing 2 smaller baseball fields, but changed gears with the middle school in mind to give them a place to have practices so they didn't have to go to the high school. There are future plans to develop the 8.9 acre property into a neighborhood park in the future, which would necessitate a new agreement. As such, this agreement is for 1 year, with the option to extend for a second year. The usage agreement identifies liability to the extent that allows by law. The town and church agree to protect and defend and indemnify each other in the use of the property. Improvements, being that both parties must approve of any enhancements. The town will be solely responsible for the enhancements, modifications, renovations, or new constructions in the area of the licensed field use. The agreement will also provide for the scheduling of the fields, times, and use by both parties and maintenance. Town staff worked with Pleasant Grove Baptist Church on a draft agreement, sent it over to the town attorney, and the agreement that was approved by both parties was attached for your.
Any questions, comments? Thank you for thinking of the Wendell Middle
Yes.
School baseball team. Gosh, that's been an ongoing thing for decades, since that school was there.
Yep.
So good for them. All right, what's y'all's pleasure?
Madam Mayor, I move we authorize the town manager to sign the joint use agreement for Pleasant Grove Open Space.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to authorize the town manager to sign the joint use agreement with Pleasant Grove for the Pleasant Grove Open Space. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Thank you.
And item 6C is the Brownfield Program Task Orders numbers 12 and 13. And we're going to hear from Town Manager Mark Collins. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. We have two task orders on this item that are a continuation of the EPA Brownfield grant. As y'all remember, the town received a Brownfield assessment grant totaling $500,000 a couple years ago. Geosyntec is our contracted, approved contractor to do the work. When task order 12 on this agreement provides for the continuation of Geosyntec to administer the grant. It was 1 year from the time it was approved last time. This extends that arrangement for the remainder of this calendar year and the following calendar year. There's a not to exceed amount of approximately $28,000 with this and all the different work assignments that's entails was in the agreement for you to, in your packet. It basically keeps up with meetings with EPA and staff and doing all the documentation that in grant administration that's required to maintain that grant. Task order 13 deals with two properties on north and south side of the intersection of Eagle Rock Road and Wendell Falls Parkway. A phase 1 assessment has been done on those properties at this time and approved by EPA. So it's time to move to the next step, which is a phase 2 evaluation of those properties. Both of those properties are impacted by a former gas station on that site. So there is a necessity to move to phase 2. This is also an area that the town will be improving that intersection in the coming years, so we need that information as well as part of that transportation project. This provides for the phase 2 assessment of those properties and any related studies that are necessary. And I'm happy to answer any questions on this item.
Any questions from the board?
Madam Mayor, I move we approve task orders 12 and 13 with the town service agreement with Geosyntec.
We have a motion to approve the task orders 12 and 13 for the town service agreement with Geosyntec. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. All right, we'll move quickly into our other business. Update on board committees by town board members. First one, Commissioner Eatman, Campo.
I'll make it quick. There was a Campo meeting, I think it was a week and a half ago now, 2 weeks ago. Top categories of major topics included, as usual, safety. We heard from the presenter who spoke at our last board meeting, as well as an update to the congestion management process that's used by Campo, and an update on the prioritization 7.0 process that's currently ongoing. That's the every 2-year theoretically process that we go through to prioritize and schedule transportation construction projects across the state.
All right, thank you. Central Pines Regional Council, Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One action item, this past meeting, we had voted to approve a 48th member government. Town of Pine Bluff is now a member of Central Pines. Handful of presentation items, so including Parks and Rec, Hurricane Helene relief efforts, and then Carolina Hurricanes were actually there. They played tonight at 9 o'clock. Shane Willis was there, so that's all. Thank you.
All right. Move into our commissioners' reports and start with Commissioner Joyner.
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Commissioner Lutz. Commissioner Eatman.
Hope everybody that lives in Wendell knows by now that you can vote early in Wendell these days. So I just want to give an amen to Mr. Briggerman and say, please vote. Election day is on Tuesday. You can vote early through the weekend here at the Community Center in Town Park. I can wax poetic for a long time about it being one of the things that makes this a really great country and makes me proud to live here. But go vote.
Pride for parents. It's never too early to talk about Christmas. We mentioned Pleasant Grove earlier. The Pleasant Grove Church right at the Carver Center will have a kids' toy store for socioeconomically disadvantaged children. It allows the parents to come in and shop for new toys at vastly discounted prices they can afford. There are opportunities to volunteer, to donate. You'll hear more about that on social media and see banners forthcoming. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Honeycutt. Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll double up on the early voting, 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Community Center, just through the trees, or you can go Saturday from 8 until 3. You can go to the Board of Elections site. It'll show you the wait times that are available throughout the county, and you can see that typically Wendell is 10 minutes or less, so make it happen. Tons of time between now and then, but we talked a little bit about Wendell Wonderland tonight. I will say that I ran into a few of my senior strutters at the grocery store the other day. They will be there along with some Santa Claus character, but senior strutters, you need to check them out. And then this year, the Historical Society is going to crank up the Holiday Homes Tour again. That will be the Sunday following Wendell Wonderland. So moving forward, we look to crank that up 6 homes, I believe, this year. But you'll hear more information about that, too. That will be December the 8th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Since our last meeting, the town has wrapped up our plantings, our fall tree plantings at our elementary and middle schools to celebrate Arbor Day. We have Arbor Day in the spring, but we plant the trees in the fall because that's a more appropriate time for them and increases the chance that they will survive. You know, they can get some roots going and stuff. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank Philip Smith again for everything he does. He is so great with the kids. He does the whole thing almost single-handedly, because I don't know how much help I am, and I don't know how much help the 5th graders are. So they're helping their own way, let's say that. So anyhow, it's the most fun thing that you get to do, and I would urge the board to come out there sometime with me because it's a lot of fun. We do the 5th grade elementary schools, and we do the special education class at Wendell Middle School, and it is a blast. It takes a lot of wrangling to manage all of them, but Philip does it beautifully every time, and this past time even I saw him have a moment with a young lady who needed an extra moment, and it was very nice to watch. It made me very proud of all of our employees and how gentle and kind they are to someone who maybe needs a minute. Quick reminder, the Wendell Market is coming up this next Thursday before we meet again on November 9th from 6 to 9 downtown on Campen and Depot. I believe it's the last one, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, of the year. And so it's not too early to Christmas shop. We've been hearing a lot about Christmas, so get out and come shop. There's a lot of really beautiful things out there every time. piggybacking on the early voting, I don't know if you realize, one of the stickers that you get for early voting was drawn by a student at Lake Mire Elementary School, the one with the unicorn on it. So that's the one I happened to get, so that was kind of cool when I went and early voted. So that's very good for that young lady or young man, I'm not sure. And also, make a note, our next meeting of the Wendell Board of Commissioners will be on Tuesday, November 12th, since Monday is Veterans Day. And since town offices will be closed in recognition of that. So if you know a veteran, please thank them for everything they've done for us and hope they enjoy that special day. And we'll see all of y'all on Tuesday, November 12th. Do you have a motion to adjourn?